All right, so what do bookkeepers actually do all day? You've seen the videos, right? On one hand, generic videos listing abstract words like bank reconciliations, good communication, detail orientation. Well, what does that even mean? On the other hand, nerdy bookkeepers deep in the weeds showing you specific platforms and mumbo jumbo accounting terms. What the hell are they talking about? So I built an app that crosses that bridge by simulating the real behaviors of a bookkeeper. No longer too abstract, but actually easy to understand. And so by the end, you'll understand why bookkeepers need to be detail-oriented and good at communicating. Not because I told you, but because I'm gonna show you. While this is a simulation, this is actually very close to the real thing. Back in my accounting days, this kind of setup is exactly what I would see every morning. I'm getting PTSD just looking at it. Before we dive in, some context here. We are a bookkeeper at the Northside Coffee Company. It's an independent coffee shop with one owner named Dana. And the previous accountant no longer works there and she's handing off her accounting roles to us. So July is now over, and anytime you hear about accountants closing the books, we're about to demonstrate that right now. We're reflecting on the financial activity that took place in July and clearing up anything that doesn't seem right to us, as well as organizing and categorizing transactions. So let's look at some of these tabs. Work queue, bank transactions, bank reconciliation, bills and invoices, messages with the client, documents, reporting. Some of this may not make sense to you right now, but I'm gonna go through these step by step. First, we have these 18 uncategorized bank transactions. This is probably the part that most people can relate to, because if you've ever managed your own personal finances, you know that you need to go through this exercise on a month-to-month basis. But if this was your first day on the job, you'd be pretty freaking confused. How am I supposed to know what this Costco payment is? Or should I just assume that ComEd is an electric bill? If we go over here to this Documents tab, we will actually see these handoff notes that were created by the previous accountant. And here you can see her notes that ComEd is actually utilities, or Costco is related to shop consumables. So this is cost of goods sold. Knowing this, I'm gonna go back to those transactions and mark these accordingly. Oh, this is cool. I didn't even notice this, but you could see the related document on this Costco receipt. And even then, it's not super clear exactly what this is. For all I know, this could be items for the office. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the category cost of goods sold. For ComEd, I'm gonna go ahead and select utilities. And most platforms nowadays will give you helpful hints based on historical transactions. And here we're seeing the exact same thing. One quick note I wanna make on this tab is, while it might sound very interesting discovering what category each transaction is going into, it gets pretty redundant. This is your job on a month-to-month basis to look for ComEd, to look for Costco and categorize it. You have to be detail-oriented and consistent. I'm not gonna categorize everything, but let's just transition to another tab for now and look at bank reconciliations. Now this one is a little bit different, and a lot of non-accountants won't know exactly what this is. At a high level, basically think of your typical POS system or the cash register at Starbucks, right? You always want to make sure that the cash on your receipts are matching what's actually in the cash register. And so if your receipts say you sold $1,000 worth of coffee, but you only have $900 in your cash register, that's a problem. Similarly, when I'm looking at this, we see that in the bank statement, we have an ending balance of $11,600, but in our books, it's $11,496. Essentially, we're off by about $104. When accountants start talking about their job feeling like a puzzle, these are one of those examples. I'm gonna go ahead and click Compare Amounts. So the first thing I see here is there are two Office Depot records, one from the automatic bank feed and one entered directly by the accountant. And this is just a classic case of duplicate transactions. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this one. So now we are looking for $22 more, right? Now here at the bottom, we see something about a monthly service fee, which I honestly don't know what that is. We'll see if there's any hints in this handoff document. Right here, bank charges a $16 service fee. I'm not 100% sure what to do, but I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to our books. Oh, here's an interesting one. If you look here, check number 1038 is listed for $650, but it was entered here as $560. This looks like a classic case of fat fingering and just a mistake in the way this was entered in their books. I'm gonna go ahead and make that change. Looks like we're getting pretty close. There's a difference to explain about $128.40, which matches this transaction in our books exactly. And so what this means is a check was written, but the money wasn't actually withdrawn from the bank yet. So we're gonna have to update this to show that this is an uncleared check. And look at that, we have fully completed our bank reconciliation. So a couple notes here. Number one, the type of people who enjoy this work gets a dopamine spike from fully reconciling, from getting those differences down to zero. That's what they're going for. That's what's exciting for them. So lastly, let's go to the reports tab and check out our P&L, our profit and loss. Just to explain, this report shows a difference of the income and expenses between July and June. And the numbers in red indicate that there is a significant variance between these months. The weird thing in accounting is actually people care more about consistency and stability more than making money sometimes. And so when you look at this, you think, oh, great, we made $20,000 in July. But really smart bookkeepers will look at that and think, doesn't really match the trend of our sales of being at $17,000. And so we might want to investigate that. Even if that variance is a good thing, in this case, good bookkeepers are always looking to make sure that is correctly depicted on this report. So I'm gonna go back to our bank transactions and look at all the transactions that were already categorized. And if you look at all this sales revenue, it's coming directly from Square, which is a popular point of sale system. And then there's this one mobile check deposit. So just to be sure, I'm gonna go ahead and click on client messages and actually ask the owner, hey Dana, can I confirm that the check for $2,500 is actually sales revenue? I have a feeling that this was categorized in error because this caused a spike in our revenue. Now, what we're doing right now is actually very real. And this is what it means when job descriptions say you need to have good communication. You want to find that balance between asking too many questions but asking enough questions to be able to do your job well. All right, so it looks like we got the response from Dana, which was that this was her own money and that she moved it to her savings to make sure payroll cleared. And then we're gonna go back to our bank transactions and clear this up. And go ahead, look for the check, here it is. We're gonna undo that and go back to our reports. And now actually this looks a lot more reasonable. It's showing that there's not a big variance between June and July in terms of revenue. And this definitely tells the story a little bit better. Now I think that's far enough for us today, but just wanted to show this page showing that there's still some work to be done. You can see here that before we try to close the books in July, there's still some bank transactions that haven't been categorized or variances in the cost of goods sold and the repair and maintenance. And these are the things we'd have to look into and investigate and either look at previous documents or talk to Dana, the owner, or the previous accountant for clues as to what's going on. And so hopefully this video was helpful to show you that this is a very common flow for a bookkeeper to go from bank transactions and categorizing different transactions to the bank reconciliation and making sure that what's at the bank matches what's in their books. And third, being able to look at the financial statements and make sure that the story about the health of the company makes sense. Not too high, not too low, but it just has to make sense. And if it doesn't, then you have to investigate why. And lastly, underlying all of that is the ability to look back at your notes, look at everyone else's notes, to fill in the gaps in your knowledge about how this company runs, to be able to ask questions about transactions, reporting, or anything. And so that's it. By now, some of those abstract bookkeeping concepts should feel a lot more concrete. You just watched me walk through them. I'm so curious about how other jobs work. And so if there are other simulations you would like to see, please let me know in the comments and I'll go ahead and build it for you. Hope that was interesting. Thank you so much.